There is a supplement sitting in gym bags and kitchen cupboards across the country that millions of people abandoned somewhere in their 40s, convinced it was something only younger men chasing bigger muscles ever needed. They were wrong. The most researched supplement in the world, with thousands of studies behind it and one of the strongest safety records of anything you can buy, is not really a muscle supplement at all. It is one of the most useful things you can give an aging, overworked, sleep-deprived brain. And here is the part that should stop you. The decade most people quietly stop taking it, their 40s and 50s, is precisely the decade the evidence says they should start. I am Dr. Mark Holmes. Today I want to show you what creatine actually does, why it matters most to a tired executive mind, and exactly how to use it. Before we go further, two quick things. If you want clear, clinically grounded longevity thinking with no hype, subscribe so these land each week. And if you would like to see where you actually stand across the 6 pillars of healthy aging, including supplementation, there is a free executive longevity scorecard at scorecard.genexera.com. It takes about 8 minutes and gives you a personalised report. Now, the story. Let me tell you about a managing partner I will call James. He is a composite, drawn from many executives I have sat across from, but his story is the common one. James is in his early 50s, sharp, still reasonably fit. In his 30s, he took creatine for the gym, then stopped around 40 because he decided it was a young man's muscle powder and he was past that. Then something crept in. By mid-afternoon, his thinking felt heavier. He would lose a word in a meeting, the kind he had used 1,000 times. On the short sleep nights during deal season, the fog was worse, and the recovery slower than it used to be. His blood work came back, in his words, completely normal. So he did what a lot of capable people do. He assumed this was simply what the early 50s felt like, and he braced for decline. What James had missed is the thing this whole video turns on.
The compound he abandoned because he thought it was about muscle is at the cellular level about energy dot, and the organ that runs almost entirely on a steady supply of energy, the organ that suffers first when that supply is squeezed by stress and poor sleep, is the brain. The supplement he gave up at 40 was the one with the most relevant evidence for exactly the problem he developed at 50. When he understood that, he did not need convincing. He needed to start again, this time for the right reason.
So let me introduce what we are dealing with, because the name has misled an entire generation. Creatine is not a steroid, not a stimulant, and not a foreign chemical. Your own body makes it every day, in the liver and kidneys, and you take more of it in when you eat red meat and fish. About 95% of it is stored in your muscle, but a meaningful amount sits in your brain. Its job is simple and profound. Every cell in your body runs on a molecule called ATP, the immediate currency of energy. The trouble is that a cell holds only a few seconds of ATP at a time. When demand spikes, you need to regenerate it fast. That is what creatine does. Stored as phosphocreatine, it acts as a rapid energy buffer, handing a phosphate back to recharge ATP the instant a cell calls for power.
Think of it as a small, fast battery that sits beside every high-demand cell, topping the system up faster than the cell could otherwise manage. In muscle, that is the difference in the last hard repetition. In the brain, it is something quieter and for an executive far more important.
Here is the strategy, the why behind the whole reframe. Your brain is roughly 2% of your body weight and consumes around 20% of your energy, It is the most energy-hungry tissue you own, and it does not store much in reserve. So anything that buffers cellular energy matters more to the brain than to almost anywhere else. Now layer on the executive reality. Under sleep deprivation, under sustained stress, under heavy cognitive load, the brain's energy economy comes under genuine strain. This is when recall slows, when focus frays, when the afternoon fog that James describes sets in. And this is the precise situation where topping up the brain's energy buffer appears to help most. That is the crucial point. The benefit is not loudest in a well-rested, unstressed 25-year-old. It is loudest in a tired, stretched, midlife brain that is running its energy system close to the edge.
Which describes a great many of the people watching this doc. The supplement was never really about the body. For the people who need it most, it was always about the brain.
Now, you watch this channel because I do not overstate. So let me be precise about what the evidence actually shows. What is robust beyond serious dispute is the muscle side. Combined with resistance training, creatine reliably improves strength, power, and lean mass, and it helps offset sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle that quietly accelerates after 50. What is good and steadily growing is the cognitive side. The clearest signal is exactly where the mechanism predicts it should be. Reviews show the strongest cognitive benefits in older adults and under stressors such as sleep deprivation and mental fatigue. People who eat little or no meat and therefore start with lower brain stores tend to respond more. And recent work has shown that even a single large dose can support cognition during a night without sleep, which is striking, though still early and not yet everyday practice. And let me tell you plainly what is overstated, because the internet has done its usual work. Creatine will not turn a rested, healthy young mind into a genius. The broad claim that it makes everyone sharper is not supported, and the idea that it directly extends lifespan remains associative and unproven. The honest summary is this: for an aging brain under real-world strain, the case is genuinely good. For miracles, it does not exist. And here is the reassuring part, because after all of that physiology, the practical side is remarkably simple, cheap, and safe. Buy creatine monohydrate. That is the form used in almost every study. The fancier, more expensive versions are marketing, not progress. Take 3 to 5 grams a day mixed into water or any drink every day, including the days you do not train. You can load with around 20 grams a day for a week to saturate faster, but you do not need to, and loading sometimes upsets the stomach. For the brain in particular, stores fill more slowly than muscle, so the rule is patience and consistency over weeks, not a clever time of day. On safety, let me clear up the one objection you have probably heard, that creatine harms the kidneys. In healthy people, the research does not support that.
What does happen is that supplementing can nudge a blood marker called creatinine, which is a different word and a different thing from creatine. Slightly upward dot, that can look like reduced kidney function on a test when nothing is wrong. So tell whoever runs your bloods that you supplement so they read the result correctly. If you have existing kidney disease, are pregnant, or are managing a specific condition, check with your doctor first. For most healthy adults, this is one of the best understood and best tolerated compounds available.
So bring it together. After 45, 2 things accelerate at once. Muscle quietly slips away, and the brain's energy system comes under more strain from stress and shrinking sleep. Creatine speaks directly to the cellular energy buffer that sits underneath both of those problems, which is why the decade you were told to put it away is, on the evidence, the decade to pick it up. Not for the gym mirror, for the mind you rely on to do your work. James restarted for the right reason this time, and over a few weeks the heaviness in the afternoons eased and the short sleep days stopped costing him quite so much. Not a transformation, a measurable edge, which at this level is exactly what matters. If this was useful, subscribe so the next one finds you.
And if you want to understand where your own supplementation sits within the wider picture of how you are aging, take the free Executive Longevity Scorecard at scorecard.genexera.com.8 minutes, a personalised report across all 6 pillars, and a much clearer sense of where your attention will pay off most. I will see you in the next one.